All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. You know I'm a little shy, so please forgive me. Konnichiwa, or konbawa. No, it's konnichiwa still.
Konnichiwa.
Right? Still early.
Wilson's son.
So, for those of you who don't know me yet, my name is Wilson Sanchez. That's my beautiful wife, Nancy. And the star of the show. A couple of months ago, I received an invitation from Pedro Morales. He put together, if you don't know who Pedro Morales is, he's a bonsai artist from Puerto Rico. It's like it would be like the Hulk Hogan of bonsai in Puerto Rico. All right. So, and I've been in contact with him for quite a few years. If you've seen my YouTube channel, there's a couple of things that I've done where I go to the convention down in Puerto Rico and show the trees and everything else. And he invited us to go with his group to Kokofuten 100. And Kokofuten is the biggest bonsai show in Japan. And this year was the 100th celebration of the show. And so I couldn't let that opportunity pass. I was like, gee, I can't. Yeah, I have to say yes to that. So we definitely took it and we went. My little joke is, you know how they tell you that, trips to Japan are really good? Well, it's a lie. It's fantastic. It's like the best trip I've ever had. It's probably the best one I will ever have because Japan is something else. Nancy can tell you she was so nervous about getting on that plane for 14 hours and it wasn't that bad. They feed you pretty well. There's 3 meals. By the time you get there, you're stuffed. What airline? We went with Air Canada because it was about $1,000 cheaper to go with Air Canada than to go with Delta or United. United is the one. From I think Delta or United, they had direct trips from Atlanta, but it was, like I said, $1,000 per person more. With Air Canada, we flew from Atlanta to Toronto, Toronto to Tokyo, to Haneda, Tokyo. So that was and this is as we were arriving at Tokyo. I took a little picture of the screen right in front of us. So a few things I'm going to say about the culture in Japan, what we learned right away. There's a lot of things that I really, really like about the culture. Number one, they're clean free. Everything is super clean. You walk down the streets in Tokyo. Tokyo is one of the most populated cities in the world. You don't see a piece of paper on the ground. The only piece of paper we actually saw in the middle of the street when the lights changed and people were crossing the street, this little old lady bent over, picked it up, and kept walking. The city is spotless. We didn't see any dogs, stray dogs, stray cats. We didn't even see homeless people. And I know no culture is perfect, but I was fascinated by the fact that in a big city like that, you didn't have that anywhere. People were going everywhere in bikes, and they needed to stop at a shop. They would just put their bike there, go into the shop. I know when I lived in Miami, if I did that, I would come out to no bicycle. But over there, it's like nobody touches anything. It was really, really cool. The one thing that kind of shattered my expectations was the idea that Japanese people are very patient. That's not true. When they need to go somewhere, they need to go somewhere. They're running everywhere. Everything is in a hurry, and they'll run you over. If the light is green for them and it's red for you, and you decide to cross the street, ain't no stopping. You're going to the hospital that day. So that's one thing that I learned, that you really respect the traffic lights because they're trying to get somewhere. If the train says this train leaves at 7:57 and you get there at 7:57 and 5 seconds, you're too late. At 7:57, that thing is moving. Period. So, yeah, question? Yeah? No? I thought it was a question. So that's, and I can talk too much, so please let me know. All right. So first thing, this is us on our way to Kokofuten. It was snowing in Japan. This was the little trail going towards the building. There was a temple. If you notice that tree, the whole tree is shaped for the temple. It was pretty good. The flowers were starting to pop up, but then snowed on top of them, so you can't hardly see them. Any comments, Nancy? Don't let me talk by myself. First part of the show, Kokofuten was divided into 2 weeks. First week, there were 250 trees on display. Then they took everything down, have a second week with 250 more trees. So the first time when we arrived there, the plan, because we were with the group with Pedro Morales, and he wasn't the only one doing this. A lot of the big bonsai artists had groups that they took to Kokofuten with them. So the way he organized it is, when we arrived there, we arrived at the very end of the first part of Kokofuten. First part. So we went to see the first part, then we had a few days to do other things, and then we came back to do the second part. But this is just a few examples of the trees that we saw at Kokofuten. I took pictures with some of the ones that I liked the most. But I'm gonna, please forgive me, I'm gonna shamelessly promote myself. Everything is gonna be on my YouTube channel. So when, as we're putting it out, please check it out, because one of the important things about going to this event, and this is as Pedro Morales was telling me, is that when you go to events like this, like convention, and you go to any other event where artists are exposing their art, is that you get ideas. You see the trees, how they manage the shapes and the forms and the pots and the different things. And this thing stick to your head. And then one day you're working with a tree, you're like, oh, I know what to do with this. And you might not recognize that it came from one of those trees that you saw in those conventions. These are some more examples. Of course, it was winter, so a lot of the deciduous trees didn't have foliage. There's a lot of junipers and a lot of pines. The amount of pines are incredible over there. And pines like this thick, this high, it's like super amazing.
Do you remember what that deciduous tree is? Do you remember what?
I don't remember if it's a maple. There were a lot of maples.
Read the label right.
It's right, yeah, it's right there. It says maple. And there's a lot of deadwood. The work with deadwood is fantastic.
So it didn't matter that the tree was bare, they still used it as a display.
Yes.
The Japanese will show their deciduous trees because they want you to see the ramification.
Right. So all those little tweaks, like that takes a lot of time to develop. This is a tree that has been, worked for many, many years. Yeah, so they'll show you precisely that. Then when we went to the second part, of course, there were more trees. There were only 10 prizes in Kokofuten. So there were only 10 prizes. And I think Suzuki had 2 or 3 of them. So I'll show Suzuki in a minute. But these are some more examples from Kokofuten Part 2. I was super impressed with this tree. You see the size and the deadwood and the way they were shaped. But like I said, when you were doing that, in order for me to get these pictures and Nancy to get those pictures, we had to struggle a lot because they're not patient. And if you stop to take a picture, they'll just jump right in front of you. And they're like right under the tree. And you're like, come on, man, I'm trying to take a picture. That's why we have a line. But no, they're not patient at all. Some more examples, and I saw some trees that were not very traditional, like that, yet it made it to the show. One thing that I noticed, and I was discussing with some of the other people in the group, is that a lot of the trees, maybe you won't see it in this one, but a lot of the trees have actually branches pointing forward. Now they always tell you pointing forward, it's not a good thing. Yeah, there were quite a few of them that you couldn't notice it until you were in front of the tree. You're like, well, that branch is pointed right on my face. But it's in Coco Futen, so go figure. You know what they say, maybe you need to know the rules so you can break it. There were also, the second time that on part 2, there was a Tuiseki show that was part of the Coco Futen. I understand that this is the first time they do this. I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it's hard to see right there, but the Tuiseki is there. There's one that looks like a volcano. There were really, really amazing Suisekis there for those of you who enjoy that. There were a couple that looked like almost like animals. And this one is funny because we went to see Kobayashi's nursery. That was part of his display at Kobayashi's, and then we go to part 2 of Coco Futen and we see it right there on display too. Like, oh, look at that. Yeah. So those look like elephants. That's why and the rocks are all natural, but they look like 3 elephants next to each other. And you'll see a lot more. I also had a chance to meet some artists over there. Of course, this guy right here, Corin. It was pretty fun to talk to, especially with that heavy British accent. It's super cool. But he was very nice, very, very nice to me. And of course, Mauro. You worked with Mauro, right? At the convention, I think. Didn't you? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You worked with Mauro. Okay. That's Mauro Steinberger.
I hate that.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He actually goes to Puerto Rico and teaches classes over there. Pedro hires him. He goes like for 3 years in a row. There's a group of students that go to him. So that's how he's such a good friend with Pedro. Pedro's super connected. Let's see what else I have here. Okay, so the masters we visited as part of the show, of course, Kunio Kobayashi. This gentleman I've seen before because last year he was at the Puerto Rico convention, and I was able to take a seminar with him, a class with him. But I was glad to be able to go to his nursery. So they offer us green tea and those little oranges, and he signed all our books. Of course, if you buy the book. Because one of the things that's definitely part of a business, right? So we went there and they had all kinds of things for sale. Now this guy right here, Abdiel, he used to be Pedro Morales' student, and Kobayashi took him as his student. So he's living in Japan with Kobayashi right now. And that's the centerpiece at the nursery at Kobayashi's nursery, all that. Trees, all bonsai trees, and we asked them, is there anything that is not for sale? No, everything is for sale. Everything. So that little tree, if you want it, is only $700,000. So, and they'll ship it to you. So yeah.
How many units there?
That was 400 years old.
Why is it in a wheelbarrow?
Real what? I bought it, so yeah, right. So there was another tree that I really enjoy over there. But they sell actually Kobayashi sold a few years ago one of his trees for $1.2 million. He's doing pretty well right now, I think. But these are trees that are 300, 400, 500 years old. We had a chance to go visit Masahiko Kimura. You've seen this tree in many magazines, that little forest. And I believe this is called the Dragon, one of his famous trees. He's got, oh my God, the collections over here. I feel like all I have is twigs. I got nothing. Nothing. I'm way behind, but he's 82 years old, so he's pretty much...
You say Masahiko Kimura?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, Kimura is 82 years old. And he was super nice, actually. He even shook my hand, which is very unusual for Japanese people. So I got out of there like, I'm not washing my hand. I'm not washing my hand. He actually shook my hand. Yeah. at Green Club, I had a chance to meet Master Shinji Suzuki. Shinji Suzuki looks a lot younger. He's the last student of the school where Kimura studied. And that school obviously is closed, but he was the last student. He had like 2 or 3 prizes from the 10, and there's 500 trees competing. He had 2 or 3 prizes. The guy is fantastic. Super happy. That's the happiest Japanese man I've ever met. He's super funny, laughing all the time. And you see all those trees behind there? Those are his. And they were selling them.
That's why he was happy.
Yeah. Green Club. The funny thing about Green Club is it was a building. You had to take a bus for them to take you there. Building with a big it was what? 4 stories high, right? 4-story high. Pots, tools, everything on the outside, all kinds of bonsai trees, everything for sale for all the people that came to the Kokofuten. You could go to the Green Club and buy anything you wanted. Nothing was cheap though. That's the only thing. I bought very few things there, but nothing was cheap. But one of the things that when I had a chance to ask Pedro about is that a lot of the trees at the Green Club could have easily been in the show. They were that good. I was, how is this even possible? Why are they selling it? And he told me that a lot of these guys, what they do is they acquire a tree, they work it for a few years, they get tired of the tree, and they sell it to somebody else. And then, let's say 5-6 years down the road, they want it again, they rebuy it from them and then resell it, and that's how this whole thing goes. So, but yeah, some of these trees, they could have been in the show, and you're like, why are they just selling?
Is it true you probably, I'm guessing, had to ship anything that you bought tree-wise because it wouldn't go through customs?
It's not, yeah. You can't, right now they don't even, at least for when I ask, they don't recommend me to buy anything because in order to come into the country, it's got to go to quarantine for a certain amount of time. Right. And I'm like, no.
No one's going to be standing over and spraying it and watering it.
No. But, so it's not as easy as, let's say, 20, 30 years ago, you could bring stuff. Yeah, but they do sell a lot of things between themselves over there. I had a chance to meet Master Toru Suzuki, and we went to his nursery. Mr. Toru Suzuki, if you don't know him, I didn't know him, to be honest with you. He is the president of the Bonsai Association of Japan. And he's a very famous artist also. Fantastic collection. Most of these people have their nurseries at their house, which makes me feel pretty good about it. So their house is their nursery. So I'm like, okay, I'm on the right track.
Sweet.
So their houses are, but I mean, you can hardly walk. There's always, you can walk, but there's trees and trees and trees. And right under the trees, all the pots. And all the things that you can buy, and you find a pot over there. It might be with water and some dirt and thing, but you grab it, you take it over there, and you can buy it. So, yeah, you can see there are trees everywhere. But yeah, beautiful, beautiful places.
So Wilson,
yes.
what does the EN represent?
Good question. Don't know, but I've seen it a lot. A lot of the nurseries.
Have you picked up on that yet? Or?
Yeah, I'm gonna look into that.
Does an EN mean in?
I don't know.
In bonsai? Something in
Maybe
bonsai?
like that. I don't know. Japanese is a very difficult language. I've been trying to learn it for almost 3 years now, and I know 1 or 2 phrases. Very difficult. Master Junichiro Tanaka, also from IGN. There it is again, IGN Bonsai Nursery. We had a chance to go to his nursery. That was probably the only one that was a little annoying. But he had a Doberman dog in the back that would not stop barking through the whole time. It was like constantly barking. We were like, come on. But I mean, his nursery was at the Bonsai Village, right?
Yeah.
And the problem they've been having at the Bonsai Village is that people are stealing bonsai trees. So they're trying to keep all kinds of security over there. I don't think I put pictures here about the Bonsai Village, but we went to a Bonsai Village. It's an area where the whole land was donated in the 20s because after the war and all that stuff, there were, yes, sir?
In this situation means garden or park.
Oh, there we go. Excellent. That makes sense. So, I don't quote me on this, but it was in the 1920s. After the war and everything, this guy donated the land. So the bonsai artists that were around Japan that had no place to live after the war could come and build their house there. The only conditions that he had was that houses had to be 1 story high, which doesn't exist anymore now. You have buildings in all that area, but it had to be 1 story high, and you had to display 10 bonsais all the time for people to see. So when they started this, there were 37 nurseries in that area, and there were bonsais everywhere. As at the time that we're going this year, there's only 4 nurseries left, 4 bonsai nurseries left. There's still a lot of bonsais on display in every house, pretty much, but only 4 nurseries, and we were not allowed to take pictures in those because when I was like, "Come on, I want to take pictures, I want to take videos," they're like, "No." What happened was a few years ago, somebody took a picture of a specific bonsai tree with a specific location. And then they send that picture to somebody else, and that person came in, jumped the fence, took the tree. Within a minute, they were out of there with thousands of dollars worth of a tree. So they were like, "No more pictures. That's it. It's over." But it was one of the nurseries had the oldest bonsai tree that they know in Japan is 2000 It's calculated that it's at least 2,500 years old. And I was in front of that tree, and I couldn't take a picture of it. I mean, and that thing was humongous. Honestly, if you can jump the fence and take it with you, you deserve to have it. Because that had to be at least 700 pounds. I mean, that thing was huge. But it...
That sounds like it would have been perfect for an artist to be.
Yeah, right? Somebody... Yeah, but that's unfortunate. But that was that. We also had a chance to go to the place where they do all the pots.
Pottery.
Yeah, it's pottery, but there's a city that's specifically about pottery. Tokonaka. Yeah, Tokonaka?
Tokonoma?
Tokonoma. Sorry, yes, Tokonoma. So we went to Tokonoma, and I thought, because all I've heard about Tokonoma is bonsai pots from Tokonoma, but actually bonsai pots in Tokonoma is like a tiny, tiny fraction of the pottery they do there. They do all kinds of pottery, and bonsai pots is just a little bit of it. But this gentleman right here is Katsushi Kataoka, and we had a chance to see him at work doing his thing. And I bought a whole bunch of pots from him because I was just impressed with his work. So I want to buy pots. And because he knows Pedro Morales. His wife is taking classes with him because now Pedro Morales' wife is going to start doing a lot of pottery in Puerto Rico. He gave us 30% off on everything we bought. So all right, good deal. So it was pretty good. It's pretty interesting to see them in action. One thing that I noticed, every time we visited any nursery, any store, anything, when we left, all the employees in every single one of them came all out to say goodbye and wave goodbye to the boss. I was like, that was shocking.
Awesome.
The culture is really, really interesting. Of course, the food in Japan, I'm telling you, I have to say something about the food. The Japanese pancakes, the bomb. Definitely great. This is more of a traditional meal right there. That's Nancy with her little breakfast. My breakfast didn't look that small. But the food is fantastic. I thought I liked Japanese food. Japanese food in Japan is just another level. Yeah.
Top.
Oh yeah, super delicious. Really, really delicious, and everything is super clean. You feel so good about eating over there. And you don't see, here I eat a burger and tomorrow I'll be 2 pounds heavier, no doubt. Over there, I ate for like a madman for 9 days and came home just 4 pounds heavier. Just When I go to Puerto Rico for 7 days, it's 10 to 12, guaranteed. So I was happy about that.
Think how much that cost the airline.
Now, the true highlight of the trip had nothing to do with bonsai, believe it or not. It was Mount Fuji. Mount Fuji, in all honesty, that's the city right there. That's Mount Fuji. And in all honesty, the picture is never going to do any justice. You have to be there in front of that mountain to have that sense of, what's the word I'm looking for? Awe? That's and the only thing I could say, and I've said this a million times by now, but now I understand why the people in this region believe that gods live there. Because when you look at it, you're like, oh my God, this is incredible. And it's, in order to get to this temple, it was 390 steps up the mountain. Yeah, when I got there, my legs were jelly. But, and to finish, because I know I'm taking way too long, I'm sorry. The true highlight of the trip, the one thing that I was like completely amazed about, the toilet. The Japanese toilet is the best. I'm gonna buy one. So one of these days, you don't even need tissue. That thing cleans you
Is
so
that a
well.
bidet?
Yes. and
It's a bidet, a super bidet?
the first time I used it, I was like, "Ooh, this is strange." But then I'm like, "How can I live
I
without
would
one?"
love that.
Yeah. So I had to finish with a little joke, but thank you so much. We had a chance to. There's a lot more than this. There's a lot more than this. I just didn't want to take so long. We had a chance to go to the ice cave. We went to the I forgot the name, the suicide forest, which was fascinating. We did a lot of things, but
Did you go into the suicide forest?
yes, we walked right through.
Wow, you're brave.
Everybody come back out.
Yeah, we all came back.
Oh, you were in group, I guess a group, you're safe in a group.
It was a group.
Yeah.
And you have to stay on the
Don't
trail.
go alone.
You stay on the trail. Behind it, a lot of people go to Japan, to that forest to commit suicide. So what I didn't know about suicide in Japan, there's a lot of suicide in Japan. They have an issue with that. The people are very quiet in Japan. When you go to the train, the only people you hear talking are the tourists. All the Japanese people are either reading on their phone or just sitting there. They don't talk, they just go. And they internalize a lot of things, and they don't have the same mentality that we have. So, and if they feel like they're failing drastically, sometimes it's easier just to end it all, unfortunately. So they're working a lot towards finishing that problem. But one of the issues is that if you commit suicide in Japan, for example, a week before we got there, somebody jumped in front of the train and killed themselves in front of the train. So what happens now is the police come, investigation, forensics, pick up the body, all that stuff. And all that stuff, the government is not going to pay for. The government is going to send the bill to the family. And the family has to pay for all that. So when you go to the forest, you get lost in that forest, they can never find you because animals eat you or whatever. You just disappear. If they can't find you, they can build your family for you. So people decide that in order not to hurt my family, I want to take my life anyway, I'll just go into the forest and disappear. And that forest is super dense. And when we went, it wasn't very, very dense because it was winter and there was not a lot of leaves, but it says helicopters will not see the ground. It's just too dense. And at night it's really cold. So chances are you're just going to disappear. And once you go into there, the guide that took us there said, if you get off the trail and you get lost over here, you're going to listen to silence. And I was like, oh, that's so poetic. Listen to silence. And yeah, but that means you're not coming back. And if you don't, you're not coming back.
What kind of animals do they have?
Oh, all kinds of things.
Lions and tigers and bears.
Oh my. Yeah, no, there's Godzilla. Yeah, there's yeah,
I mean, all these,
dragons.
old.
there's all kinds of things that can, even if you go into the forest in Japan and you get stung by one of those big wasps, that's it. You're not gonna make it back. Those things are incredibly poisonous. And so that's one of the things about the culture that I found fascinating too.
Did you take any courses or
Giant
any organized learning, or just
No, it was just a trip. We were able to go to all these nurseries. I was like a little kid at the toy store.
yeah?
Nancy was like, more bonsai. Oh my god! It was all about bonsai. But the trip to Mount Fuji, that was obviously not about bonsai. But we went to all those nurseries. We went to SQ, which is one of the biggest importers of pots and bonsais in the world. We saw everything was bonsai related, but we didn't take classes. We went just to see this. They didn't have classes at Kohofuken. It was just a show. Yeah. Any more questions?
How close did you get to Fuji?
About that close.
Yeah.
We didn't go.
Different locations.
We went to the four north, south, east, west. They have temples, but we ended up pretty much spending most of the time at the was it the north entrance, Nancy? North entrance, right? Because it was the one with the biggest temple. But because the guide took us there. But in winter, you're not allowed to climb the mountain.
Oh, no.
They're not going to let you be there anytime until the.
I was just wondering how close you got to it.
Yeah, it was as close as what you saw in the picture. Yeah.
Figured.
During the summer, you're allowed to go and climb the mountain. I think if you go from the middle where they can drive you all the way up, it's only 8 hours walking up. But if you start at the north entrance, it's 16 hours. So people do that to go to the top of the mountain and see the sunrise or the it's the land of the rising
It's a
sun.
rim. It's a volcano, so it
It's a
would be
volcano,
standing
yeah.
on the rim there.
Yeah, right.
Be interesting to see
So there's a-
look down in there, see what's going on there.
There's
Maybe the last thing you ever
Maybe
see.
not.
they have.
Throw me in.
Typically, you're going to want to go with a guide. If you're especially foreigners like us, we'll go with guides. But the guide that took us he took us to, there's areas where there's waterfalls. And there's a lot of pictures. I should have put a picture of the waterfalls there. They're so gorgeous. But the waterfalls are constant. Rain or shine, it doesn't matter, because it's water that comes from the mountain itself. So it's a constant thing there. So the same thing with the volcano. And the volcano is active. So it hasn't been.
I don't think I want to. If it's active, I'm not climbing that thing.
So they explained to us what we needed to do, because you have 20-something minutes. Usually when they detect that there's something going on.
Pyroclastic flow, no thank you.
But they say you're not allowed to drive, you're not allowed to run, you're not allowed to use a bike. They have some routes in which if they say you go that way, everybody walks that way. Because they say when there's an emergency, more people die from being trampled by other people than by the emergency itself. So they're very disciplined in those things. Like the bullet train is amazing. It's the one we rode was 175 miles an hour. So that's the one that took us to Mount Fuji, that city. So that was really cool. Yes, ma'am.
I imagine the streets are like being in New York City. Lots and lots and lots of people.
There's a lot of people. Yeah, it's very busy.
There's not a lot of noise.
That's true. That's
They
true.
walk just like they ride the trains in silence. They walk the streets in silence. And there's no horn honking.
Mm-mm.
It is stunningly quiet.
Yeah, for a big city like that, you're surprised that you don't hear anything. And you'll see the little kids, like 5, 6, 7 years old, just walking by themselves. They get on the train, they go to school, come back home.
That makes sense though, because different exercise, meditation, Tai Chi, all that kind of stuff. It's always getting your inner stuff, getting into
I guess. They're very considerate though. I would say they're very like when I was saying about the cleanliness, and I'm sorry for taking so long, but when I was saying about the cleanliness, I had a little bit of a emergency situation at the train station. Like I need to find a bathroom like now, right? Because I don't have my gallbladder, so when my system says you gotta go to the bathroom, there's no wait a minute. It's like go to the bathroom. So I went to the bathroom and there was a line, and I was like, oh, and I finally got to the toilet. And it was spotless. I'm like, how is this even possible? Well, what happens is they have a little machine on the side that dispenses this cleaner, right? So you use your toilet, you do what you gotta do, take some tissue, use that cleaner, wipe the toilet, throw it in, flush it, and then you leave. Everybody does that. And you go to a public bathroom and you're like, amazing. Yes.
Kind of like our gas station.
Exactly the same. When I used to live in Miami, when we lived in Miami, 7-Eleven shops, they're usually not in the best neighborhoods. When you go there and you feel like you're gonna get robbed, 7-Elevens in Japan, they're the spot. That's when we went to get, sandwiches. And the best egg salad sandwiches in the world are in those little shops. It's incredible. And the strawberry sandwiches, incredible. Yes.
Strawberries?
Strawberry sandwich.
Strawberry sandwiches, great. Yeah, the food is fantastic, really. Any more questions before I bore you to death with all the questions? Yes, sir. No? Yes, sir.
Are there any future trips planned that you know of?
Or to go to Japan?
That group?
They haven't mentioned anything yet, but everybody wants to do it again.
So last,
So,
there's another bonsai group called Eisen N,
right?
and they sponsor trips every year. And in fact, I was just looking, they have people at that conference, where Wilson.
Yeah. Mauro had a group with him from Italy that he did that. Hugo something from Mexico, one of the biggest artists from Mexico, and I forgot his name. He had a group with him. So a lot of the artists, big artists, do that too. So there's a lot of opportunities to do it.
Yes.
I really, really recommend to do it, and I'll tell you why. And I'm gonna say, because this is financially speaking, it would have been stupid for me to do this financially, because it's not cheap. Man, Japan it's a big trip. But the truth is, and you all know this, I'm gonna say it. Just please don't take it the wrong way. 10 years ago I almost died. So, cancer is not easy. So. The truth is, we don't know if we're going to be here tomorrow. And Nancy and I were talking about it. And if we save the money, if we say we're going to wait until we save the money, we don't know when we're going to have the money to go. And next year I might not be here. The opportunity shows up, you take it. And we'll figure it out. Locally, I was able to figure it out in a way that I don't owe anything right now. I'm perfectly fine. So it happened. But if I would have been like, it's going to be tight, it would have never happened. And this was a dream come true for me. I've been dreaming about going to Japan since I was a teenager. I was in martial arts, and I was like, I want to go to Japan. And when the opportunity, if you ever had the opportunity, take it. It's worth it. It's worth it. There was nothing in that trip that I would say, oh, I'm so sorry I did this.
I know you were trying to learn some Japanese. Get a chance to use any of it?
I use about 3 phrases.
Where's the bathroom?
No, that's when I have to use the signs. But I of course, the more you got to gozaimasu, and the one after, and I had to look it up to be honest with you. Right when we finished the meal at a restaurant, they really enjoy if you tell them, there's a little phrase that says, "I really enjoyed the meal. Thank you so much." Because there's no tipping in the restaurants. They don't take tips, which I love.
They do accept gifts though.
We didn't. They told us don't leave tips.
No, they accept gifts. If you ever visit a Japanese home, don't go empty-handed.
Oh, okay. All right. I didn't know that, but I know that we went to all the restaurants. They didn't take tips. And once again, when we left, somebody followed us, and they were like, "Oh, and walked us out to So they're super respectful, super cool. Yeah. You know, you hear that they're racist, and I think this is just my opinion, nothing else. I don't think it's racism. I think it's like as long as you go over there with your yen and you're leaving, they love you. If you're gonna stay, maybe not so much. But but yeah, we felt welcome everywhere we went. Everywhere. Yeah, it was pretty good. All right.